Hello and welcome to the Hancock Creative Podcast. I'm Shawn Hancock.
And I'm Missy Hancock.
And today we're talking to you about love and creativity and the relationship they have to one another.
They are not as disconnected as you might think. They're kind of important to one another. So we all understand the importance of love, but most of us underestimate the importance of creativity. And love and creativity, what did I tell you the other day? That they're like twin sisters?
Yeah, they're like twin sisters. And I kind of got an image and I drew a little sketch that we can't show to you.
It was so adorable. Two little girls with red hair holding hands walking down the sidewalk looking just alike each other. It was very cute.
It was, and then we realized maybe the more we thought about it, maybe they're actually conjoined twins. But we haven't decided. We'll let you decide if they're conjoined or if they're just regular twins. I don't know. But anyway, the point being is that they are oftentimes, when you see one, you see the other. And I don't have my glasses on.
He says you can put the image on Twitter.
Oh, okay.
So, we forgot to mention Vinton Bain is here with us, producing and helping us sound better than we do. So, yay, yes, Vinton, thank you.
Okay, so we'll try to put that image up on Twitter for you. I didn't draw it intending anyone to see it. So don't judge me on that drawing. It was just a quick sketch for inspiration.
Mind map.
Yeah, for our mind map. Okay, so anyway. So imagine that you have two twin sisters walking down the sidewalk holding hand. One is love and one is creativity. And so you need to have, in our opinion, you need to have both to have a full measure of
either.
Of each one. Yeah. So if you want a full measure of love, there has to be some element of creativity involved in it. From our perspective, we believe. You can think about that for yourself and decide for yourself what you think about that. But it's been our experience that the fullness of love involves creativity, spontaneity, some things like that. And the reverse of that is creativity also requires a certain amount of love. And that might be a little bit surprising to some of you.
And we're not talking romantic love. It's like, I can imagine the Debbie Downers in the world going, well, shit, I wanted to be creative, but I don't have a romantic love interest. And that's just not relevant. It can be self-love. It's just love and passion for what you are interested in. It can be Doctor Who love. It can be whatever you're crazy about, whatever you're interested in.
Whatever
crocheting
you.
Little cute sweaters out of your cat's hair, which I think is a thing, but I'm not into that thing.
I think you'd be allergic to that thing.
I am allergic to that thing. Anyway.
Somebody give you a cat-haired scarf.
Yeah, it would be so sweet. My
terrible.
eyes would swell up, and I'd be like, but they knitted it for me. I have to wear it.
How come you never wear that scarf I made you?
Okay, we are so off our mind map.
Okay, so anyway.
So creativity needs love as well, is where we were.
Yeah, and I guess maybe I want to be a little bit more specific with that, is that if you think about your using creativity, sometimes you can get blocked or get thrown off the path of creativity, like you get stuck and you don't have any good ideas, you're not generating any good ideas. One thing that you can do is remember the love, because sometimes creativity becomes a job, and you have to stop and remember the love you have for the thing that you're doing. Or so you also associate love with whatever project you're working on or whatever you enjoy about it, because sometimes it becomes work and you can't get past the struggle, the current struggle of
not
producing
feeling like
that
doing
thing.
it.
Yeah. And then also, so you have to like sort of rekindle the romance that you have with the particular project, or with, for example, it's kind of hard to talk generically, but for example, if you're a visual artist and let's say that you're painting something and you can't generate any good ideas or whatever, it would help for you to maybe step away from that and rekindle the romance that you have with painting. Maybe that you go and you revisit some of the artists that you love, that you appreciate, that inspire you, or you just take a break from the particular project and paint something else. Or sometimes it is even cool to just like scribble paint, like just take some paint and be wild and crazy with it and just make almost like gibberish on canvas.
I love watching Tessa. Raven is our oldest daughter, and she's one of the most prolific artists I know. And she cranks out some art. For quite a long while, she was doing a painting a day or a drawing a day. That's what it was, her drawing a day thing. And she was posting them up. But it's like, you'll watch her, and it's like wherever she goes, she comes to visit us, and she brings at least one canvas with her. She's got her sketchbooks and her thing, but she always has at least 2 projects with her, and she'll be sitting there talking to you, working on whatever she's working on, and then it's like when she stops working on that thing because she's tired of working on that thing, she turns over here and she starts working on this other thing, and it's just keeping her creativity alive, I think, by changing things up, just exactly what you're talking about.
Shifting your focus, because sometimes you get overwhelmed or even tired or whatever of one particular project, so you just shift your focus to something else. But the point being is that you want to always refresh and rekindle the joy and the love that you have, or the excitement that you have for that particular medium. And another thing is that we can be blocked by our own our disbelief in ourselves, and so you also want to rekindle the love that you have for yourself, the love you have for you as an artist or for you as a creative person. You just want to remember that you are able to do it, and that you are good at it, and even if you don't believe that you're good at it, convince yourself that you're good at it.
Well, just stop judging yourself. Stop trying to decide. Just do it, is what it comes down to. There's a quote that's often attributed and possibly misattributed by my wiki quote studying earlier today to Mother Teresa, which is totally frustrating because you see it everywhere. So I was pretty sure Mother Teresa said it, but now I don't know. But regardless of who the hell said it, it's a good quote. And it is, if you judge people, you have no time to love them. And we do that to ourselves. Yeah. We're so judging of ourselves and critical of ourselves that we don't love ourselves very well, and we don't let ourselves be free and create. And personally, on the other hand, I think I don't know if I'm arrogant, if I'm just constantly surprised when something goes well. I don't know, but it always cracks me up because Shawn and I are 2 completely different kinds of creators, in that he is, in my mind, he's very good and I'm not. So there you go. There's the judgment coming in. But I mean, he is much more highly skilled with visual art than I am. And he'll sit there and he'll do a drawing or a portrait or a painting or whatever he's working on, a cartoon that I think is like, wow, that's so good. And he will be like, he won't like it. I, on the other hand, will do paint the word love really pretty, and I'll look what I did. Isn't it pretty? And I'm just constantly delighted if something turns out well. And so I don't know if it's arrogance or,
no, I used to think that was weird when we were first married, and you were like,
"Look what I did!"
You were like, "Look what I did! Isn't that pretty?" And I was just like, "Wow, that's really weird that you compliment yourself like that." But I realized that that's a more healthy perspective than what I usually have, which is that looks like shit. Something I made, it's just like, that's crap. I can't put that out there for people to see. That's just garbage.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like that sketch I just talked about a second ago.
Exactly. He started being mortified when his subconscious was mortified when Vinton said, "We can put that on Twitter." And he's like, "Oh God, no, I was just sketching that for our mind map. That's embarrassing."
Yeah. So
this is a good place to go into humility, probably.
Well, yeah, because I think we have, a lot of times we have 2 things that we have to guard against, I should say. And one of them is becoming kind of full of ourselves or arrogant, and the other is becoming having inferiority complex,
self-loathing.
Yeah, being self-loathing, which is a tendency to be where. Actually, I do both quite well. I was going to say where I have a tendency to go,
and I think I'm pretty damn special.
So I think I hate myself, but I'm better than you. But understand that it's kind of clear to see that self-loathing comes from, your own personal judging yourself, and from, disbelief in yourself. But also arrogance comes from that place, which we have a friend that will remain nameless that sometimes we talk about and think about, and he's really proud and arrogant kind of person. It comes from a place of disbelief, and I think that's typical. I think that's typical. That's typically always the case, and so sometimes there's artists out there that are really irritating because they're really full of themselves. And you have to understand that a lot of times, if not every time, that's actually coming from a place of disbelief.
And insecurity.
Yeah. And so if you continue to compliment them, you'll never be satisfied complimenting them, because they'll just take it and absorb it, and you'll never get anything back from that, personally, but at least short term. But you are still encouraging them, and you think, oh, I'm just making their ego, bigger.
That's what's so sad about that particular attribute of self-loathing or of insecurity, is that they end up getting less compliments. Because and people end up feeling like they want to withhold affirmation from them, because they're like, good God, this that's going to go to his head or go to her head, and so I'm gonna rein it in. I don't want their head to get too big, and really that makes it worse. And that makes it worse
because they're the ones that have to feed their own ego, because nobody else is encouraging them, so they have to go the extra mile and really build themselves up. It's all subconscious. I don't think they're doing that.
No. Yeah.
That's just what happens. So when you're around an arrogant artist, don't
hate them immediately.
Yeah, don't hate them.
Have grace.
Yeah, have grace, and just encourage them and keep encouraging them. And you think that they're just getting worse, but I promise you, the more you feed into them, the more that they'll come around and really feel better about themselves. And you'll start to see their arrogance come down.
Decline,
Yeah, because I have this theory.
It's a Star Wars theory. You're going to like this illustration. We've got to work Star Wars into it because, it's so good.
Because that's what we do. Okay, so imagine that you're flying the Millennium Falcon in space, right? And you're on a course that is called the belief course, like you believe in yourself course. And so, you did the thing where you charted out the path and all that rigmarole. And this is the course of believing in myself. And that belief has forward momentum. So when you believe in yourself, you're doing things, you're moving forward, you have progress, and that sort of thing.
Smooth sailing.
Yeah, that's right. And so then, all of a sudden, you come up on, this is exactly what happened in A New Hope, right? Where they were charting the course and going, and then, all of a sudden, there was an asteroid field. Okay, so you come up on this asteroid field, and the asteroid field is disbelief. So this is the asteroid field of disbelief. Now, you might have a tendency to oh, here's an asteroid field. Let me fly up above it, or let me fly down below it. But either way, if you fly up, you're leaving the course of belief. And if you fly low, you're leaving the course of belief. So if you fly above, you're elevating yourself. And this actually is still leaving, because of disbelief, you're leaving belief and you're elevating yourself. And that turns to arrogance. Or the opposite is that you're leaving disbelief and you're flying low and you're lowering yourself, and that leads to inferiority and a low self-esteem, self-loathing.
It sounds something like this. God, I suck. Oh my God, I suck. I am humiliated. I should probably, I'm well versed in it.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. Just thought I would give you, a little something to ponder. God, you suck. That's not true. Those are lies. Okay.
No,
sorry.
I'm sure many people are familiar with that. But
I thought I was the only one.
But the point being is that if you go up into arrogance, you're still leaving belief, the course of belief. If you go into inferiority, you're leaving the course of belief. So the only way to get past the asteroid field of disbelief is to be an awesome pilot like Han Solo and navigate through it. So you don't actually leave the course of belief. You just have to navigate through disbelief.
Yes. And that's really the true definition of humility. I mean, we were driving the other day, and he goes into lulls of long, quiet times. And I know that probably something interesting is going on in his head. So I do that really annoying chick thing where I go, "So what you thinking?" And so, but one of the last times I said this to him, this was his response, and I thought it was so damn good. So here you go. So what you thinking?
So it's always funny because she'll ask me that, and then I'll say something, and it sounds completely random out of nowhere.
Yes.
But this is what my response the other day was. I think I have a definition for humility that I really like. And it is always seeking and always helping. And the idea is that you, if you can imagine a cup that's half full, right? Very positive of me to say that it was half full.
Yes.
Imagine that a cup is half full. You always have room for more, but yet you also have some to give. And so we're always learning, we're always growing, we're always seeking, we're always, looking for new knowledge or a different knowledge or
we understand that we don't know it all and that there's plenty out there to learn and to grow from. So you're always trying to grow.
Yeah, but also as equally important is that you also know that you have something to give. You have something to offer other people. And I think that's where a lot of times people come short, is that they don't feel like they have anything to offer. And we run into people all the time that say, "Oh, I just wish I was creative," and blah, blah, blah. And then more you talk to them, the more you find out, well, they do creative things. They just don't think that they're creative, or they don't think they're artistic or whatever, because they feel like they don't really have much to offer. And that's often not true.
Yeah.
And so I think an accurate definition of humility is that you always have something to offer and you always have something to learn. So know who you are and know your place, in the sense of not like it used to be said back in the Victorian age or whatever, know your place, but know your place in the sense of that you are good and have something to offer.
Yes.
And yet at the same time, you have a lot to learn. And I think if you can find yourself in that
content
place,
in that place.
Yeah, that is actual humility, in my opinion.
And I love, there's a Helen Keller quote when he was telling me that definition. I was like, oh, that's like that Helen Keller quote. And it's, I cannot do everything, but still I can do some things. And because I cannot do everything, I will not refuse to do the something that I can do. And I like that. That is all. Helen Keller. I like it.
So to go back to this disbelief, I think maybe I'm just like, well, just navigate through it, and just kind of leaving you hanging. I'd rather not do that. I'd rather address that, So if we come across disbelief in our own life, there's this philosophy that Missy and I have adopted that is that love casts out fear, and that's actually a scripture from
I started to say
somewhere.
I like it. This is like Peggy Hill saying, I made this new recipe. It's spaghetti and meatballs. There's this philosophy we like to call our own, love casts out fear.
Even though that is
it's a scripture. But, we'll own it, babe.
Whatever.
Okay, sorry.
It's not exactly what it says. I think it says perfect love casts out fear. But it is something that we've examined and that we've adopted into our life, that there are two opposing forces in the universe. One of them is fear, and the opposite of that is love.
Yeah.
So if there's
you don't
fear,
think,
you cast it out with love.
If you're not really, really evaluating it, if someone said, so what's the opposite of love? Most people, you'd say hate. But that's not really accurate. I mean, really, the opposite of love is fear because, well, just keep going. Sorry.
Yeah, no. Well, because, fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering.
Excellent.
Yoda. But you have to say, yeah. That's a quote from Yoda.
But
Just because it's science fiction doesn't mean that it's not true.
Well, you'd be surprised at how much, if you start evaluating, just your life choices, the counsel you get from people, you can almost always see it coming from, one of those two places, love or fear. And we kind of have adopted this. I made a little design. Eventually, maybe around Valentine's Day, it'll be a T-shirt available at Hancock Creative Shop on Etsy. But it's live by love, not by fear, and it's real pretty. I did the lettering really nice, but because I like to brag on myself. It's just that is when we hear, I think I'm going to write a book, or I'm going to take, I think I'm going to quit my job and do this passion that I've always had. But, people are always like, they get excited, they kind of get a vision, and then the voice of reason comes in, sometimes in the form of your mother or whatever, and says, should you, I don't know if you should do that. These are uncertain times, in these uncertain times.
I'm concerned for you.
I'm concerned for you. And that's fine if there's, of course, part of it is legitimate concern and part of it is love, but part of it is just like, be very afraid, be very, very afraid. People feel like they're doing you a favor by putting fear on you, as if you don't have enough of that on your own, because you clearly don't have good enough sense to go, wait, I should weigh the positives and negatives of this. Of course you do. Everyone has enough fear of their own. Stop heaping your fear on other people, for crying out loud. That is my pet peeve. But anyway, it's just, if you have a lot of fear, you have to examine the situation and find a place to grow your love, because that's what's going to, balance that out and kind of pull you out of that negative space. So the fear of failure can be removed by replacing it with love for yourself, or to increase the love.
Yeah. Which is similar to which is basically what we were talking about earlier, that you find yourself in a place where you're blocked or insecure about a particular thing. That really is coming from fear. And so you insert love, either a love for yourself, love for the particular thing. But if you just start adopting the practice of like affirmations, or encouraging yourself, or telling yourself you're good at this, you can do this is not a problem for you, and
always look at the source when you have this, something come up that you are afraid or whatever. You look at the source. It's like, is this coming from a place of love in me, or is this coming from a place of fear in me? And you choose love. Love's going to deliver, and fear is going to keep you bound up and not living the life that you want to live. It's not going to. And here's the thing, so you take this leap of faith and you fail at it. So what? You lived a little, you tried something new, and that's how we grow. That's how we fail our way forward. You find your way to the right place. But if you're so afraid of ever making a mistake, you don't even move forward. You stay very stagnant, and you become someone who has a lack of luster and life, and you don't want that. You don't want that. You're a creative being. You want to be creating and be, making the world a better place with your creativity, just by putting out into the universe what is yours to contribute. And so that's what that's why it's so important that you get a hold of the idea and the concept that you can self-monitor yourself. You can say, oh wait, this is coming from fear. That no, I'm not choosing that. We saw it. Was it Kevin Pollak? Is that his name? His face. He did an interview. He does
these.
He
has a talk show.
Yeah. Yeah. So we saw one of his YouTube interviews with Nathan Fillion. I happen to adore Nathan Fillion.
Mm-hmm. Go out of your way to see an interview.
I do. I go out of my way to see an interview with Nathan Fillion. But he does a great interview with Nathan Fillion. You should look it up online. But in the interview, because Nathan Fillion's from Canada, he asks him what he thinks of the United States of America or whatever. And I think, hasn't he become a citizen? I can't remember if he has or not. But anyway, he lives here.
I don't think so.
Maybe he hasn't. But what I can't remember the context of it. It's been a long time since we watched it. I should have watched it ahead of time. But anyway, he...
I think it had something to do with the healthcare system, but...
I can't remember. Anyway, he asked him a question about the United States, and whatever the setup was, and being the arrogant American that I am, I'm fairly certain that... Nathan Fillion's getting ready to say, man, land of the free, opportunity. This is a great country. And instead he says, you know what I've noticed? You guys are really afraid. It's like he mentions fear. Yeah. And when he said it, I was like, oh my God, that's so,
it's true.
That's true. That's what we've observed too. And it's just... useless. It doesn't get you anywhere.
It's kind of become propaganda. If you have the ears to hear about, fear, if you attune yourself to it, you hear it all the time, everywhere.
Oh, yes.
There's fear on television all the time.
Or the radio. Please, are you going to share it?
I was going to say, are you going to mention names?
Well, yeah, because why not? I don't think John Tesh is going to be listening to us, but there's this evening radio show. If you're driving and flipping through the radio stations, you may pick up the voice of John Tesh, and it's supposed to be all, it has this like
it feels uplifting and good.
Yeah, like
and
it's supposed to be. Like that's what it's trying to be. But if you listen to the articles, it's like, if you eat these carrots that are being grown in wherever, you will probably die. And it's just like, there's so much like fear. Like one night we were driving and it came on and it was like, oh my God, this is just constant, like, be very afraid. Be very afraid.
Yeah.
Oh, let's listen to a little song. Oh, no, I don't remember if he does songs, but then again, it's like, and be very afraid. So if you love that show, I'm sorry, but at least don't be afraid. Okay, we've gone way too long. Sorry.
Well, it seems like it almost seems like it's intentional that there is propaganda to instill fear in us. And we're just saying, ignore that. Don't listen to programs that you hear a lot of, scare tactics or whatever. Don't listen to the news, except for here and there, every little bit. So avoid those things. The thing about going back to kind of loving yourself and that sort of thing, sometimes we feel like that we're being irresponsible or whatever, but the truth of the matter is you need to take time for yourself. You need to invest in your creative space, invest in, time for yourself. Go out on an artist date and, buy some supplies that you've been putting off because you feel like that was irresponsible. Just give yourself permission to get going, to make mistakes, to get started, to, whatever it is.
Huge. Giving yourself permission to be a beginner. It's like a lot of us, it's like if we spend money on, it's like, well, I bought the supplies and then I use the supplies and good Lord, this is embarrassing what I've created here. You have got to let yourself be a beginner. Nobody starts something and is their best at it. Like some people, yes, some people start stuff and they do an amazing job. And then others of us start stuff and it looks like doggy do. And you just keep going if you liked it, if you enjoyed doing it, if it was fun for you. And don't judge yourself too harshly. Give yourself the permission to be a beginner, because that's how you're going to find success at whatever it is that you're interested in.
And here's another bit of advice. Since we're just doling it out here.
Yeah, because we are so full of...
We're so full of it. So surround yourself with loving and creative people. And that sounds like it might be harder than you think. But, loving and creative people who are positive minded or who are positive speaking or that sort of thing. And you think that might be hard to do, especially, if you're surrounded by a lot of negative people. You think, oh my God, I have to get a bunch of whole new friends. Well, probably, but
well, maybe somewhat.
But the easiest way I think that it is to find those people is to become one of those people.
Yes.
Is to start speaking positive things and to become a loving and creative person. And before you realize it, you'll find yourself around them.
Yeah. If you're cultivating and encouraging creativity in others, you pour love out on them. If you're cultivating it in yourself, you pour love out on yourself. But it's that love versus fear. You choose love. You're not afraid to move forward. You're not afraid to make art. You're not afraid to, write that novel you've always wanted to write. Or write that poem, or, whatever it is. You're not afraid. You are fierce and brave, and you can do it.
Yeah. That's it.
You are fierce and brave, and you can do it.
Well, thank you for tuning in and listening to us, and we really appreciate your time that you spent with us, and we hope that you enjoyed what we had to say. And a special thanks to Vinton Bain for producing our podcast here.
Yay! You can check us out on Twitter, engage with us. It's Hancock Creative. On Instagram at Hancock Creative Shop. And you can buy our merch, which is on Etsy at Hancock Creative Shop. And we have some really cool t-shirts and art and hand lettering and stuff. And if you happen to be in Oklahoma, swing in to Guthrie, Oklahoma, and come to 116 South 2nd Street and say hi. Our shop is there and we'd love to meet you. Just thank you again. You can do this thing. You can live a more creative life. Go for it. We believe in you.